Right. All right, everybody. So thank you so much for coming. We're just going to be talking about everything about theta. Like I said, I'll be covering it a section at a time. So if you have any questions, I'm going to pause for a moment because with the other one that I did, there were some great questions that kind of learned. I learned like how I'd want to do this a little bit better and address some things like in the slides. So again, the name of my company, I'm Brenda Bailey. The name of my company is Unlimited Possibilities 101. And I realized that I didn't give anybody any contact info. So here it is. I always tell people as you're watching these slides, go ahead and just, pull out your phone and just take a picture and then you'll have it, right? And feel free, you can always text me. The easiest way to contact me is to text me. So there's my cell number. And then I can get back to you. I can send you the link to my calendar if you just want to have a quick chat. There's no charge for that. There's no obligation in that. And I'm happy that if I didn't answer your questions in this, I'm happy to cover them with you one-on-one. It's not a big deal. So I already asked here before we got started with the recording if there were any specific questions that anybody had, and everybody just said they were here for the ride. So we'll see if any come up along the way. Hopefully I'll do a thorough job. So also, if you want to know more about me, I do have a directory listing on a website called Dell Cloud, which is what that first one, again, I say take a picture. And I'm also, again, if you're looking at the recording, pause it, write it down. And if you just want to know more in general about theta healing in a very short, specific video, you're going to want to, my dog's getting comfortable with me here. We're getting started here. This is a YouTube video that I already have posted. So what is theta healing? Again, it's an integrated healing modality. People can tell you what they think and what they feel. Actually, what you create in your life is what you believe. And we hold those beliefs on a cellular level. A lot of the information out there is that if you change how you think, you change how you believe, which is true. But I'm going to tell you this just like as an old school type things. You would have to be very intentional with that thought. You would have to be very aware of that thought 24/7, and it will take years. So with theta healing, it is a meditation or a prayer, however, whatever word fits for you, because they're both about the same. One's just a little, one's more religious, one's more spiritual. They're the same, right? There are many roads to get. So as a theta healer, I go into a theta brainwave, which is why it's called theta healing. And when you think about brainwaves, like right now as you're watching this video, this is beta. We're in a beta brainwave. We're talking, we're thinking, If anybody's ever experienced a modality like Reiki, that's done from the alpha brainwave. And then we have theta. So what that actually means when we talk about theta, alpha, theta, it actually means not that your brain is speeding up, but actually your brain is slowing down. And this is why monks go to monasteries and they stay there for decades, because they're wanting to get to that theta brainwave is really ideally what they're doing. And it actually is not that hard to do it. It's just that most people are so unaware. We all do it. Believe me, I promise all of y'all are going to a theta brainwave. It's just with theta healing, we let it be intentional, and then there's a whole lot of other things that we can do with it. So what happens is that changes are made at a cellular level, which means DNA changes, toxins are released, not that puts you into a healing crisis, but there's just a lot of really magical things in our body that happen as a result of doing theta healing. And then what happens is that our brain, our subconscious, our emotions follow our beliefs. The beliefs are the leader. So it's not that you change your thoughts to change your beliefs. It's actually change your beliefs so that you can just change your thoughts. It just happens that quickly, that easily. It's just that some people have the beliefs that it has to be hard, it has to be long and arduous in order for it to be something that's permanent. And we can change that in theta healing, that can be different for you, so that things can be easier, graceful, just better. And so that's what theta healing is. When you do and I'll get to that when you do a session, but just with theta healing, it's a very easy technique to use. As we say, we're just reminding you what you already know, showing you intentionally what you could do with it. So it's not anything new, it's just we're pointing it out for you. So that's what theta healing is. So I'm going to take a second here to just say, anybody have any questions about that, or is that I can answer further for you? So wait a minute. I'm going to look at my participants, see if anybody's unmuting. No. All right, then we're just going to go on. So in a theta healing session, for myself, I have been doing this almost 14 years. So I have a format because this is what I believe. And again, this is not every theta healer. This is just me and probably most of my students. Because I'm hoping I've attracted people who are like me, right? Because I always say that it's no mistake who comes together in a group. We always share common beliefs. Which means that my students have gotten better and better as years have gone on because I've worked on myself more and more. So theta healing is also a technique not only that you can use on yourself, but also on others. And when you become, if you decide to like take a class, and I'll cover that, I'm kind of jumping ahead, it's not like you have to become a practitioner, but I've always said I think that every parent in the world ought to learn theta healing so that their children don't have to inherit their beliefs, because we get beliefs in 4 different ways, right? So we can either inherit them. So a lot of people will say, oh, you know, diabetes runs in my family, or alcoholism runs in my family. It's not that runs in your family. It's that the beliefs that cause these run in your family. And you can change those beliefs very quickly and easily through theta healing. So we can either inherit them, which there's the incentive if you have kids, right? We can get them in this lifetime. So something happened when we were a child, we can get them in this lifetime. You can carry them around in your soul, and you can also get them from a past life if you believe in that. And you don't have to believe in past lives. So it's all good. We're not trying to force anything. And yeah, and Cheyenne, who has 5-year-old twins, is like, amen, yes, every person, every mama, every parent, because it just will make your life easier. There'll be a lot less projection. It allows you to be more present. Just makes life easier. So when you do a theta healing session with myself, with me, Brenda Bailey, what I've known, because it took me a couple of years to figure this out, is that I like to have a format that people only have to do 1 session with me. This is not like traditional therapy or psychotherapy or even some of the other integrative healing. It's not an ongoing deal to have just a session where we just show up and work on, what you need to work on as far as from your past. Now, there are different offerings that I have if you want to keep moving forward, but we're just talking about something's come up, you're having some challenges, somebody's recommended this, you saw a YouTube video, or you heard about it at a meeting that you were at, or networking, or you met a theta healer. I've met people at parties that have had conversations with me. 95% of the people that have a session with me only need 1 session. Now, I actually had somebody ask me the other day, why is that? Are they too scared to come back? That made me laugh. And I went, no, it's just that we're done. We're complete. That's not what they need to see me about anymore. And I do the session in an hour and a half. So it's like I give plenty of time, 90 minutes. And you can either do it virtually or in person. Now, I've been doing this for 14 years. So this was before Skype, and this was before, Zoom. I just had in person or phone. Those were my only options. Now we could do video conferencing like we're doing now with Zoom. I used to do Skype, love Zoom. There's my plug for Zoom. And either one will work because I did plenty of sessions just over the phone. You didn't have to see me. So it's whatever works for you, whatever is possible for you, because ideally people cannot fly in or they can't fly me out to do a session with them. Virtually works really good. Video conferencing works just as well. So I do have clients all over the world. It's not limited to somebody who's within like an hour range of me or anything like that. I can help anybody anywhere as long as we can share a common language, right? So English is mine, just saying. So here are some ideas. When somebody wants to talk to me about a session, I go ahead and just show them, like, this is what we'll cover in a session. And I tell people to bring your list as long as you like. I kiddingly say, and I don't mean it in any mean way, I send this list to everybody, and inevitably most men will just write 3 things on a, on a piece of paper, unless they've been coached by a partner that they need to do more, or a woman will show up with 10 pages front and back. Either way, all good. We'll be able to cover it in an hour and a half. So the more thought that you put into it, the better it is. And the 5% of the people that come for another session is because they did not realize what all they could have written on the list, even though I send everybody the same list. And that's just how it is. And that's why somebody will come back for a second session. So on that list, what I want to know is things that challenge you. Most people have, there's something that's come up that's the reason that they are, wanting to come in and see me and have a session. It's because something's come up. What's causing you pain? What are your repeating patterns? So we reach a certain age and we're seeing, same, pew, different aisle type thing. And so we know that most of us, hopefully, as we age, comes with wisdom, that we realize that if we could have changed it ourselves, we would have done it by now, and we need some help. People that you need to forgive. Even if you have a lot of faith, even if you've meditated or prayed to have forgiveness for somebody, I got to tell you, even if you think you've forgiven them, let's do it in a Theta healing session, because it will complete it. And forgiveness is a powerful deal. Situations you regret. That has to do with what haven't you forgiven yourself about. Traumas you have suffered. I have never seen anything that does trauma resolution as quickly, painlessly, and completely as Theta healing. And I'm in a city that's a very military city. We have a lot of veterans, a lot of PTSD, and a lot of civilians have PTSD. It's all relative. I say that a trauma can be for somebody that their mom was 5 minutes late picking them up from preschool one day, to an act of war, a violation physically, sexually, a car accident. What happens with trauma is that, from a Theta healing perspective, what we say is that you'll carry free-floating memories around. So a trauma occurs, you have these free-floating memories that you have as a result of it, and we just pretty much pack our bags with our free-floating memories and we carry them around with us wherever we go. And what that looks like in our lives is that, one, it's like a magnet for us to have the same type of trauma, for us to relive that trauma over and over again. For example, and this can look in so many different ways, but that that person who's had an accident, like a car accident, and then it feels like you hear them, they've had another fender bender, they've had another accident, because that trauma is still with them and they're just attracting it. They're just sitting ducks. They're just attracting it. When you clear it, that won't happen. And eventually it hopefully plays itself out for people, but they've got to go through a lot and they relive that trauma. So, or, another way that happens is that we have these free-floating memories, and we have an event or something that happens, and we project those feelings and emotions from that trauma that we have, the free-floating memories, we project it onto that one. And, sometimes the people are looking around going, what just happened here, right? Because they're like, I'm not sure why this person is reacting the way that they are. And really what happens as a result of doing Theta healing is we become less reactive, more objective, and more neutral, which may sound kind of boring for people, but it's not, because then you get to be present. You get to just be about what's going on in the moment. It allows us to become better problem solvers, and it just allows us to clear what's preventing us from what we can manifest and attract, which is our God-given right. And again, anything else that you want to address. So people, again, have some ideas, and everybody's different. And like I said, you can make it the list as long as you'd like. So it's 90 minutes. We cover whatever you want to write on your list. It's complete, it's done. And what I always say after a session with me, there are one of three things that people will do. Or actually, I guess I'll just say four. So the next steps after having that 90-minute Theta session is people will either give a referral or more than one because of the experience that they've had, how easy it was, what a difference it's made. And that's for somebody who's aware. I often say, do not become a Theta healer if you want to be confirmed and validated with what you do for a living. Because Theta healing is so different from everything else that it's as if it's always been. When you clear these things, when you clear the beliefs, when you clear the non-forgiveness, when you clear and neutralize the traumas, right? All of the above, clear and neutralize it. It's as if it's never happened. You get the gifts, you get the lessons, you don't lose those. You just don't have the emotion and the fear and everything else that's tied up with it. So for a lot of people, they'll just go, it's as if their life has always been. That's why I get a lot of referrals, because people will say to them, what have you done differently? What is going on? Because people outside of you will notice the difference. For the person, a lot of times if they're not aware, they're just living their lives. They're just being present. They're just feeling lighter. And they may or may not realize it. It's all good. I don't need to get credit. I just know that this works and that I get to send people out in a different way. The second thing that people typically want to do is they want to know more about Theta healing. This was, the roof didn't fall in. I'm not feeling like this horrible sensation or anything. I would like to learn this myself. And it is a very easy modality to learn. It's easy to learn how to go into a Theta brainwave. What comes from experience is what to dig to find those beliefs that need to change. But you'll learn it and we'll practice it, right? So in a class, I say it's about 75, 80% interactive. It's not like you're going to be sitting taking notes and reading a book. That's not how it works there. Or people want to know about coaching, because if they're like, if this is what can happen in an hour and a half working with you, what could happen by meeting with you for an hour, for 8 weeks? A lot. I promise you, I can cover a lot. And I have in my coaching, what that looks like is it's very specific what we address. I found 14 years of experience that if I get really specific with people, because people think they know what needs to change, but they think. We need to find the beliefs. And when I know that I give specifically people homework, and it's not anything huge, and they know they answer those questions, then what comes up for them in that week, the ahas that they have, that's what we need to look at. Because again, if we could have figured out how to do it, we would have done it by now. Or people will want to do all of the above. Give some referrals, take a class, go through the coaching. It's all good. Or, a combination. Now, a class, just to let you know for myself, again, 14 years, 13 different certifications in integrative healing. There's a lot behind this with me and doing this. And this is what I've done for a living. So it's not a part-time gig for me. I've really honed to my skills on this. I've really practiced it. I've worked it. I've had, lots of clients, lots of students, and lots of work on me as well. So my rates are actually $400 an hour. What I do with this first session is I offer it for half price. So you get that hour and a half session for $300. And this is what I tell people: do not let money be the reason that you do not work with me. Because what I know is that people's abundance opens up once they've had a session. So, and really cool things, and, money come, like in non-traditional ways, because our brains limit and what happens to us. And so when we clear the beliefs, it's like our brain opens up as well. And we're not in that controlling, limiting type frame of mind. So I can always work out payments. The price doesn't go any lower. I'm going to tell you that right now, but we can break it up until you could just contact me. We'll figure it out. Because if you want a session, I want to help you figure out how to have a session with me. So let's see. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it. Go back. We'll go back to the previous one. And I'm going to see, does anybody have any questions about what a Theta healing session looks like? Theta healing in general, maybe something came up as a result of me asking, addressing anything. So just going to give a minute for people to either unmute themselves if they have a question. I have some good listeners here. Either that or I'm doing a better job than I did last time, right? We all learn as we move along. All right. So now we're going to talk about Theta healing classes. So there are 3 foundational classes that are the prerequisites for all the upper level classes. Somebody just asked me recently, there are 19 classes offered through Theta Healing now. They've added so many like in the last 3 years. And those are more like just little, one day weekend type classes. But you can't take any of them if you don't have these 3 classes. So the first one, the prerequisite for any of them is the basic DNA 1 and 2. And it's 3 days. And I'll go into more about what that is. The second one, that the prerequisite, you have to have basic in order to be able to take, is the advanced DNA 2. It's also 3 days. And then the next one after that is dig deeper. And that's just a 2-day class. And we'll go over what each of those are. So 3 days, basic DNA 1 and 2 class, this is what you're going to learn. The 4 brain waves and how important they are in the healing process, the 4 belief levels. So I've covered some of this already, but you learn more about it. And how to pull, change, and replace. How beliefs are held in the 4 levels affect your health and everyday living. How to use the system to help yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. The 7 planes of existence. How to activate your youth and vitality DNA. How to look inside the human body. How to see and work with your guides and angels, how to do individual and group healings, an introduction to the laws of manifestation, and how to make your life what you want it to be, and how to assist others in creating their true selves. I always say that I think that any consultant, any coach, any parent, in general, I think everybody in the world ought to learn how to do Theta healing. It is all classes have to be attended in person. So this is not something that you can learn on the video. Now you can, right? Like it's not like things can't be taught or that it's so hard or that, again, because I just said we can have a session virtually. But what we find and what the Theta Healing Institute requires is that you have to show up physically to take a class. And of course, it helps me as an instructor because then I'm aware you're there physically. I can help you in a better way. So again, I've been doing this for almost 14 years. And this is what you learn. This is what's required for me to teach you by contract with Theta Healing. But I've shortened the learning curve in a lot of ways. And I feel like it's a disservice to any of my students to not share the tips, the tricks, and the shortcuts. Not that I do Theta Healing. Don't get me wrong. I teach you Theta Healing. We do it. But there are just some things that I've learned that are going to make your life easier, going to make it easier for you to implement it. It took me years to figure this out. But you get that for, the price of admission. You not only get this, but you get all of that. And it's really my pleasure to do that. Plus what I also do, which is included in the price of the class now, this is something that I've learned of value, is that I offer 2 video conferencing sessions with the group, with the class that takes it, to be able to follow up, see if they have any questions, remind them. Because what I say about the basic DNA class, it's like drinking out of a fire hose. You're going to get so much information. You're going to do so much of the work. You're going to have so much work done on you. It's amazing the changes that happen when taking a class with me as the result of that. Now, I can say the teachers are good and you'll do that, but I'm going to give you more bang for your buck. I'll just tell you that, because that's like my deal. That's one of my beliefs. I'm not willing to change it. I always want to give people a bigger bang for their buck. So the basic DNA class is 3 days and it's $500. You can become a practitioner after taking a basic DNA class. You have the choice to be listed on the Theta Healing website for free so that people can find you. Because people will go to the Theta Healing website and they'll look for people in their area. So, there again, it's more exposure. And again, that's included in the price. I know that there are other modalities out there. You have to go, after you take the class, you have to go through all this certification stuff and everything and jump through hoops and all of that, because it's just not that hard. And you sign a contract and, staying in the integrity of the modality. And, and then why charge you more to be listed in the directory? I know other ones do. You don't. There's no hidden costs or anything. That's what all you're going to get. Okay. Now with the advanced DNA 2 class, which again, basic, then advanced, this one, because it's so funny, again, we're learning something new. It's not theta healing, go into a theta brainwave. It's not new. It's the digging for beliefs. This is what repetition. This is what you'll be practicing a lot. You'll be partnering off with people. You'll be working in groups with people. It's really magical what happens. And again, a lot of work gets done. But what we find is that if we can help you just be clearer, because there's a saying, the clearer the healer, the clearer the healing. We know that that's going to help you be a better practitioner, just easier in your life. So what you get in the advanced DNA, again, worth the price of admission, is you're going to get thousands of beliefs and downloads shifted. I mean, we have like a book and we just go through it. And with every class, by the way, you do get a book and you do get a manual. And the book, which was written and published by Hay House Publishing, is the class, except that it's more of a reference at this point. And I always say it's a pretty thick read. God bless anybody who reads that book before coming to class. And it's not necessary. But you do get one included in the price of the class, as well as a manual. And the manuals are phenomenal. We didn't have that stuff 14 years ago when I first started. I'm kind of sounding old here. Back in my day, but I'm so excited. I'm so grateful that Theta Healing has evolved, and the Theta Healing Institute, not Theta Healing, well, it has more classes, but the Theta Healing Institute has evolved and really listened and really is very, very much wants to support people out there. That's what they want to do. So advanced DNA, you get all of this work done. You also learn how to receive healings for your heart and soul, how to heal and change broken hearts and souls, advanced manifestation techniques, advanced tips, tricks, and techniques for improving your reading and healing ability, how to open up your psychic centers, how to communicate with ancestors and your higher self, advanced understanding of the 7 planes of existence, how to bend time to get what you want faster or slower, how to send love and protection to the baby in the womb, and advanced digging for beliefs techniques. The biggest gift that advanced does for people is that actually they show up and they learn that they knew more than what they thought they did. Because like I said, basic, like drinking out of a fire hose. So when they show up for the advanced, they're all like, I'm doing this because I need it so bad. And then they kind of go, well, I knew more than what I thought. It happens all the time. And the big thing, and I was actually just talking to a colleague just like last week, and she said, I just tell them, if you're taking basic, you need to take advanced. And, you know, when I first started, because I've always like, I don't want people to feel like that they, you know, that it's going to cost, you know, I feel like so much stuff's out there, like you have to spend more and you have to spend more and you have to spend more. And I'm just like, to get healed, to, you know, to feel relief. And it's like, no. But again, this is a 3-day class and it's $600. And you get that acknowledgement on your listing on the Theta Healing website. Again, you get the book and you get the manual. You also, with me, get the two webinar classes, not webinar, they're actually Zoom meetings because we'll see each other. That again, we're going to confirm and validate what you've learned, answer any questions that you have in order to make it comfortable for you to continue using it, right? Because it doesn't work if you don't use it. There you go. It's like with anything. So for me, I offer those video conferencing because I really want to support you in using it. And as your teacher, I am always your instructor. And I am always willing, if you have a question, I want you to text me. I want you to send me an email. That you'll get a quicker response if you text me. You can call me. Again, quicker response if you text me. And if it's something that needs a longer explanation, we'll set up, you know, little 10-minute time to chat so I can help you. But it's my pleasure. If people are going to implement this, if they're going to use it, I want to support you. And there's no extra charge for that with me because I want that for you. It's why I teach Theta Healing. I feel like it's such an important modality to learn. You know, I've drank the Kool-Aid. I've drank it over and over again. I even go and take other classes. When I first learned Theta Healing, I only had 8 certifications. I've been on this path for 28 years, but I keep learning, and it always confirms, like, well, I can do that with Theta Healing. I already know how to do that. I can do this. But it's such a complementary modality that if you already have one that is yours, got it. This one will help it, and it'll make it easier for you to work with your clients. I'm just saying it doesn't matter who your clients are or what you do. Because again, it's my pleasure as your instructor to help you know how to implement it in what you're already doing. Again, for no extra charge. I'm happy. I can answer that in a class. I can tell you in 5 to 10 minutes how to do that. And I'm happy to do that. So the next one is dig deeper. This one wasn't a requirement to begin with, and it now is, and I'm pretty grateful for it because I think it's very important. Advanced basic, some people take them back to back. I have I've taught all over the US, and I'm happy. You want to host a class, I'm happy to show up and teach it. And there are a lot of incentives to be a host. There are a lot of incentives to refer people to take classes with me. And I'll cover that here at the end. But it's just, trust me, 14 years. If you can take that basic and advanced as close together as you can. Some do it back to back, some wait a few months. I got it. We're all on budgets, we got to save up the money. But I'm happy to help you figure out how to make that work for you. I'll work with you, and it's my pleasure, because if you want to learn it, I want you to learn it. So dig deeper is the 3rd class, because what happens is that you take the classes, and it's not that you need to practice getting into a theta brainwave, or that you need to practice witnessing changes happen, or it's that digging for beliefs is what people need practice in. And that is where people will tell you, anybody that's taken a class will tell you, this is where I needed practice. And we get that by practicing, with other people. We get that by, once you're in a class, everybody knows how to contact everybody, practicing with a colleague, so that y'all are getting that experience. But in this class, it's just, I'm just going to read what I've got here. Right? The Theta Healing technique is fabulous for getting to the origin of our issues, because practitioners are taught an incredible technique called digging. This narrative style approach allows you to comfortably discover the elusive and deep subconscious thoughts and beliefs that can block us. And the Theta healing technique then uses unconditional love, belief, and feeling work to clear these. So the class is designed to get all Theta healers well trained at this essential technique to give you the solid grounding and tips that you need so that you're confident at digging to find your client, family member, friends, core beliefs. This class will empower you to help your clients understand their own behaviors and lives through helping them make healing changes. And you'll be able to emerge balanced and clear at the completion of their sessions. With the completion of the Dig Deeper class, you will have proficient knowledge and experience to keep doing belief work on yourself and others, and you will be able to know all the techniques to release and uncover the hidden beliefs that we are operating from. And under the guidance of your instructor, right, you will have ample practice time for this class. And again, we show up and we realize what we know, what we got. The confirmation and validation is powerful, just that in itself. And this class is just a 2-day class. It's $500. So you have all the pricing with that, you understand it. But to be able to have certifications in 3 classes and for it to be under $2,000 and to have those certifications be listed, and you have the choice to be listed or not, but even if with what you do, the difference that it makes just on the work that you get by being in the classes and working in the groups and working with individuals. And because again, we're our hardest client, right? To work on ourselves, it's hard. No, we can change some beliefs, make it easier, but still, we just know what we know. And sometimes an objective person that we're either trading or sharing with will make that easier for us. So I apologize. There's a sound outside that my dog is hearing. We're doing a few parts. She's agreeing with me is what it is. Yes, these are great. So I am going to go back as we have finished that whole deal on the three basic classes. And like I said, there are 19. These are the 3 that you need to be able to take any of the upper level classes. And these are good and they're juicy, but I got to tell you, the upper level classes, they're even juicier. I love them because again, you're not going to be the same. At the end of every class, you will be different. At the end of a session, you will be different. That's how quick, that's how easy, that's how wonderful it is. So I'm just going to stop for a minute, take a drink of water, see if any of my people who are in the call here have any questions. Is there anything that I didn't cover? Is there anything that you want to know individually? Because I promise you, if you have a question, somebody else may. They'll be like, oh, good question. I didn't think of that. And again, at the end, it'll be open to everything. So if you think of anything, have at it.
I don't have any questions as of yet.
Okay. Thanks, Arlene. I hope that, fingers crossed, doing a better job. Well, again, if this is my second run at this one, I think I'm doing a better job. Thanks for the confirmation, though. So there are 2 coaching options. One is 8 weeks. One is 12 weeks. I actually am a certified dream coach. And I loved that. And I ended up getting that training and just doing that coaching certification and combining belief work was magical what I saw with people. Absolutely. And what I also realized is that people needed some more foundational work in order to get the most out of that program. And I'm all about getting, again, I'll say it over and over again, the biggest bang for your buck. And I just felt like I needed to create something. So I actually created an 8-week, that's, 1 hour a week, intensive clearing and foundation building coaching program. And what I do with that, and I actually named it, right, Action by Design. So it's my Action by Design program. I think I have had many people go through it. And this is the deal with the coaching. A lot of times with people who are coaches, they have a year-long program. And what I say to people, and I again, God bless them, I think that's great, but it's just not necessary with Theta healing. And so I feel like that I can help people in 5 weeks what may take some people to do a year or two with other people, or even more. And I want to be able to help people and then send them on their way. Go live your life. Go have a great, beautiful, balanced, neutral, objective life, because that's really where the beauty is. So what the Action by Design program looks like, and again, if it's consecutive weeks, that's more powerful, but I work with everybody's schedule. So it's not like you have to do this in 2 months. No, you do not. You don't. Is it better? Yes. Kind of like you do not have to take the advanced right after the basic. Is it more helpful? Of course. But I'm working with you. We have to do what works for your schedule, what works for your timeline. So week 1 is an intro. We look at what needs to shift to begin this journey, because there's going to be a lot of changes that happen, and we need to make sure that everything's in place. And again, you get homework with coaching. You get homework, nothing to take a lot of time, but you get some homework because we need to see what's going to come up for you. Because I know there are certain things that we need to shift, the questions I need to ask to see what comes up for you so that we can shift that. So to me, that's 14 years. I'm going to say, I got this. Week 2, we look at forgiveness. What specifically do you need to forgive others for? So it's not just talking about in general, like I need to forgive this person or that parent or whatever, or God. What do you need? What's specific about this? Because there's so much power in that. Week 3 is forgiveness of self. So what are your regrets? What do you need to forgive yourself for? And make the list. And again, the list, whatever, I always tell people, just work a little bit on it every day, because it'll come to you if you think about it. It'll be like, oh, I need to write that down. I need to write that down. And then we shift it. Manifestation. It's in 2 parts. Part 1 is what you want to attract and create in your life. And again, part 2 is the same thing, but it's 2 different homeworks, 2 different things that we're going to look at. Week 6 is completing the incompletes. What is still hanging around that needs to be dealt with? Where are you procrastinating? Where are your challenges? Because you've done a session, you've been going through this, but there are still things, so we need to dig a little deeper. We need to look at that. We need to help you with that and allow you to get into some habits that allow you to be able to deal with that. So it's not just all belief work. Some of it is some planning. Week 7, we're going to tie up the loose ends. What in all of these first 6 weeks do we need to look at? Do we need to complete? Do we need to see what else has come up as a result? And then with week 8, it's about, because this is the thing. So with Theta healing, we're not just looking at the objectivity, the neutrality, the presence, but it's also in raising our vibration. So what is left in raising that vibration, maintaining yourself energetically for optimum health, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And also through this whole deal, there is a technique learned like in an upper level class, actually the DNA 3 class, that as your coach, I support you with that every single day while we're in this 8-week process, which it's pretty magical. What it's intended to do is bring the stuff up that we need to have and also raise your vibration. So we're all in this process, and I do that throughout the 8 weeks. However you break those 8 weeks down. That's the 2-month program, right? And that is the one where everybody starts. And then they move into what I call the Dream Attainment Program. So it's the dream coaching plus belief work. So we have the week 1 where we do the intake. We see what it is that we need to address just right off the bat. And there's an intake form that you fill out. Nothing big. It doesn't take that long. Again, nothing's intended to take, the homework's not intended, this is not regular school. This is not intended to take a long time with your homework. This is just to have some ahas, write some things down. I'm not a big journaler. If you want to write a book around any of these, you're welcome. But if you want to do some bullet points, I'm with you. Week 2, we set an intention. We understand about intention, and we're not talking about setting an intention for the program. We're talking about setting an intention for your life and how that serves you, what needs to shift in order for you to be able to do that. Week 3 is maintaining integrity. Integrity is a huge piece in being able to live your dream life, manifest, be happy, healthy, and wise, right? Happy, healthy, rich, and wise, or however we want to do it. Integrity is a big piece. And again, homework around that. Purpose, living on purpose. Accessing your dreamer. Some people don't even know what their dream is, or they're not sure about it. Learning from your doubter. Doubt gets a bad rap, but doubt also serves us. It's just that most people have doubt and go to fear. That's not how doubt's intended to work in our lives, and we learned that in week 6. Believing in your dream. So we change any beliefs that prevent you from supporting your dream. Week 8 is failure could lead to success. So again, a lot of forgiveness around failures, looking at success. Most people are not afraid of failure. They're more afraid of success. So we, look at that and what's preventing you from moving forward. What you need to do to take serious steps forward. Building your dream team. Who do you need in your life to support you? How do you need to support yourself? That's the biggest thing. Most of our lives, for most people, we've let ourselves down. So that's where that forgiveness of the regrets that we have, that's like allowing us to move forward and be our biggest support. Doesn't mean we have to do everything, but most of us don't know how to show up for ourselves. We just don't. Living our life as a dreamer. And that's not like being in denial, right? Or putting on some angel wings and walking around in public. That's not what we're talking about. It's because most people think that their dreams, we get confused with fantasy and dreams. Fantasy is just that wish. A dream is your fantasy with a plan. And so what does it feel like to be that dreamer? And then week 12 is just a completion. Again, tying up the loose ends, seeing what else is there. So I always tell people the coaching programs are, people have this, don't be worrying about the coaching programs if you haven't even had a session yet, right? So it's like, take that first step. If that's something that you're thinking, and the first step may be scheduling to have a 15-minute call with me. Again, I will tell you right now, there are no strings attached with anything that I do. And if I am offering a 15-minute, no charge call, we're just going to chat. I'm going to just answer your questions. And I'm going to, if you want to, and I'm going to help you figure out if it's something that you want to do, what that can look like, how we can put it in your budget, if that's what you need to do. But I am not going to ask you to go open up a credit card in order to be able to work with me or put yourself in debt. We're going to figure this out to where it can fit for you. So I'm not, I know that some people do some things and they go and then they'll go to an event and the back of the room people, they're like, what just hit with me? I'm not going to blindside you or anything like that. We're just going to talk. You may or may not do it. It's okay. I will still love you. I will still appreciate the fact that you decided to do that with me. Again, there's no obligation on any of this, but knowledge is power. So if you're saying no to something or you're saying, oh, I can't do that, how do you know? You haven't talked to me yet. Let's figure it out. Maybe not. You may not be able to. I don't know. But if you're keeping in your mind and you're staying in that limitation, I don't know. But we can talk about it. It may or may not change things. I have no idea. You don't know. But contact me. So I'm going to go ahead and open it up to see if anybody has any questions. Not a reflection that I didn't do a good job, but just what is there left? Does anybody have any questions? It's okay if you don't. It's okay if you do as well. So.
Brenda?
Mm-hmm.
I have my friend Jackie's been listening with me sometimes.
Yeah.
And she was curious about what happens to your face and mouth and whatnot while you're doing the healing. I mean,
So-
I said, it's just part of her process.
So not everybody has to look like me when you're doing it, right? So for myself, when I do the work, right, we're going into a theta brainwave. So a lot of times what you'll see with a theta healer, and some people will have their eyes closed, some will have them open, they're usually looking up, right? So, I'm, usually like, and even when I'm accessing information, I'm looking up. Now, again, theta healing is a very respectful modality. We're not going to change anything unless you say yes. And I forgot to say that when talking about a theta healing session or even theta healing in general. No work is done. We use kinesiology when you're like in person, so in classes, in-person sessions. And again, we can do this differently, but we can still accomplish it doing video conferencing. But what ends up happening for myself, and I'll just say this, I am not a burper. Never have been a burper. Okay, I drink a beer here or there, I'll burp, right? But I've never been a big burper. But in a session, what I know, or working with a group, what I know is that once it starts to release, I'm burping. So what you're hearing or what you're seeing in my mouth is I am burping. And when I used to just do phone sessions, I would have like people on the other line going, was that a burp? Because they knew it was a good thing to hear a burp. Kind of funny. So that's kind of what's going on. Not all of us, you don't have to look like me when you're doing it, but that's pretty much. Did you think that answers the question, Vicki?
I do, and she works with me in another modality that I do, and I have some little things that happen as well.
Right.
So I was just saying, well, it's kind of like that.
Right.
So I will share that information, and thank you.
Of course. We all have our little idiosyncrasies on what it looks like when we're healing or what we're doing, right? It's not a big production with me, but I do look up, I do burp. So I know some people sneeze, some people yawn. Everybody has, that kind of thing of what they do when they're doing a release. Anybody else have any other questions? I went ahead and muted you, Vicki. Unless you have another question, by all means, unmute. Anybody else? Thank you for that question. And people are all like, no. That might just push you into one, like, I just want to see what she's doing. No, I'm just kidding. All right, perfect. So I'm just going to, once again, put up my contact information so that, feel free to text me, feel free to email me. Once I initially hear from you, I'm happy to share my calendar link so we can schedule a quick chitty chat, and again, thank you so much for my people who have attended. Thank you so much for the people who took the time to listen to this. I just wanted to, it's been a while since I've done recorded anything that talks about theta healing, and so it felt like it was time because I was getting a ton of questions. So